Good afternoon. This is Lawrence Pierce-Durance. This is the fourth in a series of very short videos for YouTube that I'm doing on major gift programs for small and medium-sized nonprofits. And like I said, this is the fourth one. You can find them on YouTube. I'll tell you about that at the end. Just by going and Google, or not Google, using a search at YouTube with my name, Lawrence Pierce-Durance, and it will bring up the videos for you. Now, today's topic is the role of board members and senior volunteers versus the role of staff in major gift fundraising. It's a confusing area, not only for small and medium-sized nonprofits, but for a lot of larger ones also. Here's a basic premise to keep in mind, and we discussed this a couple videos ago. Your organization's fundraising program, in my opinion, should be board-led and staff-supported. Board-led, staff-supported, not the other way around. I think it's a critical issue for organizations to have that in place. When we talked about developing the case, we talked about being board-led, staff-supported. And why is this important? Well, it's important for a couple reasons. First and foremost, when you are, for most of you, I think you're staff people, when you are out raising major gifts, you can be as committed as you are, passionate about your cause, articulate, etc. But at the end of the day, no matter how much of those good qualities you bring to the table, you're paid to do what you do. I don't mean that critically, it's just a fact. That's your job. On the other hand, with most board members and key volunteers, they don't have a vested interest in your cause beyond the quality of the program just being as good as they can be. So what this says in terms of perception, more often than not, those key volunteers are seen as stronger advocates for your cause. That may seem unfair, but it's just true. There is something about this statement when a volunteer says to a prospect, "Will you join with me in making such and such a gift for such and such a purpose, etc." That's a very powerful statement. So I want you to keep that in mind. It's why it's important. Board members come to the table with cleaner hands, as they would say, than staff members do. Now let's look at a couple aspects of what board members have responsibilities for and where the support level comes from the staff person. Number one, board members have a responsibility to help identify major gift prospects. What's the role of the staff member in that? Is to help facilitate that, to nudge those board members along so that you're asking questions of them. Again, when we were talking about how do you identify major gift prospects in the video number 3, we talked about at the end of the process, you asked them, are there any other people you think would be good prospects for our cause? Number 2, board members have to take the lead in helping to think through strategies for cultivating their major gift prospects. The role of the staff with that is to join in those discussions, to facilitate meetings where that kind of discussion goes on, etc. Number 3, and this is the one that's probably most common to people, board members have a responsibility to open the doors, as they say, to the people that they have influence with, they have contact with. What's the role of the staff member in that? To ensure when that door is opened by that person, that you have the right people going through the door. Maybe it's that board member, maybe it's you, the staff member, maybe it's some combination. You have the responsibility to think that through. And number 4, the part that people don't like to hear, board members and key volunteers have a role in soliciting major gifts. This is often in a team approach. You may have a couple of people doing this. What's the role of the board member, the staff member in this exercise? In the solicitation, to make sure the timing is right, to make sure you got the right people making the solicitation, just like you have the right people going through the door. Now then, there's an area that I differ with a lot of my professional colleagues with, and it comes to when you're putting together the annual plan and goals for a major gift program. Many of my colleagues will say this should be staff-driven. You should put together the plan. You should put together the goals. I don't buy that. I come from the other side and say, I think the key elements to your plan and goals should be driven by board members in a discussion when you're going over this. They don't have to have it all tidied up. You need, though, to get their input of what they think should be the dollar goals, the areas you want to support, how many major gift prospects you can work with, etc. Who's going to be involved in the program of helping to cultivate and move along prospects. And if that discussion goes all over the map, that's okay. You can then take that back and put together a draft of a plan and a draft of the dollar goals. But it'll have more ownership by the board members if they've had a chance to speak to that. I got to turn page. At the end of the day, we have to keep in mind the single most important factor in fundraising for board members. The ultimate financial or fiduciary responsibility for the organization rests on the shoulders of the board, not on the staff, not on other volunteers, not on a foundation, not on a donor. It rests on the shoulders of the board members. Therefore, they ultimately have the responsibility for the major gift program and other programs. You have to be a teammate, but they have the responsibility for it. So let's keep in mind a couple things, because I've been sort of hard thinking about the role of the board member, of some heavy-duty roles that I think the staff has. I think one of the most critical roles you have as a staff member working with major gifts is to help educate your board so they know how to, quote, tell the story, unquote. They're not used to doing this. They may know your cause and care about it. You have to help them so they can articulate the case for support in a clear, crisp, concise fashion. Number two, you need to keep accurate donor records. You cannot be sloppy with those. You can't have them all over the map. You have to have accurate records. And number three, you have the responsibility when the prospects are identified to do the homework, to do research. You can always be gathering more and more. Those are things you need to be on top of as staff members. Bottom line, it's a team approach between the board and staff members. But the ultimate responsibility rests with the board. Now, that's a very brief thumbnail sketch. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at pdsolutionsfundraise.com. All one word. I hope it shows up on the bottom of this page. Or you can just go to YouTube and search under Lawrence Pierce-Durance. And if you want to contact me to discuss this or any of the other videos we've already produced, please do so. You may contact me by email, or you may contact me by phone, and you'll be referenced to my website to get that information. And there's no charge the first time around to do that. If you'd like to do that, find ways I can answer questions for you or help you along the way, I'm happy to do so. Now, last but not and least, the next video we're going to discuss the kind of topics and issues I see people have been coming forth with as I put out these videos. So I'm going to pull that together in the next week or two and see what are the common threads that come through with that. So I hope this has been somewhat helpful. It's been a little longer. I apologize for that. I hope you have a great day, and I look forward to hearing from you if I can be of help.